Hello, Tim from Fair Play Now on the 14th of October 2022. I want to talk about a little known film which I really like, and especially one scene in it which is a really memorable scene as far as I'm concerned, and it really is an illustration of how I like to live my life and a code of ethics that I wish to pursue for myself. The film is called The Legend of Bagger Vance. It stars Will Smith and Matt Damon, and it's about a golfer from about 100 years ago, maybe just under, and he's playing in this tournament, quite a major tournament, and he's doing very well. He's going to win the tournament, but then he kind of slices the ball off into the woods, and he goes down in there with his caddy, but no one else can see him, none of the audience, none of the other competitors, none of the marshals. And when he's addressing the ball to kind of chip it out onto the green, hopefully, the ball moves about a foot. It just on its own accord, it was just sort of precariously lodged, and the bit of movement of him around it just dislodged it, which in golf is bad news, because even though it's not strictly speaking your fault, it's a penalty shot, and you know, that's not great either, especially when things are tight. It can cost you a game, cost you a tournament, and that's what this guy was looking at. And his caddy said to him, you could just sort of not say anything, nobody will know, because they were just there on their own, and the caddy wouldn't have said anything. And the main star, he just said, yeah, but I'll know. And that's the thing, if you do any kind of wrongdoing, anything that's a little bit unethical, no one else might know, but you know, don't you? And the way this film ended is he played brilliantly out of this bit of trouble, but he did declare what had happened. He took a penalty stroke, and that cost him the tournament. I think he was just joint first rather than being outright winner or something from memory. But it's a great film, The Legend of Bagger Vance. If you're at all into golf, it's worth watching, and even if you're not, it's there's a bit of romance in there. There's it's quite entertaining. But I've came to thinking of that through an incident that happened to me yesterday. I did a job, electrical job. I wish golfing was my job, to be honest with you, but I did a bit of electrical work for a nice lady I've done some work for before. She's got this big old farmhouse out on the countryside, and I did a few bits there. And as you know, I like to receive cash normally and deal in cash, but not all customers want to pay you cash, and she did me a bank transfer. And when I looked at my my accounts of the later on in the day, I found out that she had paid me 40 quid too much. And I don't know, I just had a look at that and I thought, why is she giving me that amount? It should have been £40 less. And I could have easily got away with it. I could have, because she had no idea. When I kind of told her, she said she'd misheard me, and because her hearing's not brilliant, and yeah, I could have easily got away with it. Nobody would have ever known, but I'd have known. So I gave her the refund of £40, and that's my conscience clear. It wouldn't have been right, even though nobody would have known. It would have technically been theft as far as I'm concerned. And yeah, you do have to live an honourable life, I think. And why am I saying this particular story? It's not to big myself up or anything like that. It's to kind of tie in with the events of today. The new Prime Minister here in the UK, Truss, she appointed a guy called Kwarteng as Chancellor, who's like the finance minister in the UK. And he lasted all of 38 days because she sacked him today, and because of this disastrous mini budget that they've done. And basically the Tories are sort of way down in the polls now, down to about 20% or under 20%, which is absolutely terrible. And if there's a general election tomorrow, if there's any accuracy to these polls, it would mean that Labour would get a landslide victory. So Truss's premiership isn't going very well, and far from doing the honourable thing, she threw Kwarteng under the bus and sacked him. This is looking very familiar. It reminded you of about 3 months ago when Johnson was either sacking ministers or they were resigning on him. So again, absolutely reminiscent of what happened then, and it didn't end well for Johnson, did it? So Truss's premiership is looking very, very dodgy now, and I don't think she'll last long, to be honest with you. But even worse is she's appointed a guy called Jeremy Hunt, who is the new Chancellor. He was a minister before, and one of the worst ones, I believe, from memory. If my memory serves me correct, he did all sorts of horrendous things, made all sorts of mistakes, and even worse than that, he was a big advocate of things like VE mandates. Not that anyone can get away with anything like that anymore, thanks to the news I've been going on about in the last day or two, that everybody's talking about. But yeah, he was a big advocate of that, and he was a big advocate of a zero lurgy policy, and a big advocate of Communist China Party style harsh lockdowns to achieve zero lurgy. So obviously not a great guy to have as our new Chancellor. If there is anyone less fit for high office than him, I can't think of one at the moment. Even less fit for high office than Truss herself. And I think that these people are just Whiskey Echo Foxtrot stooges. And Hunt is a very big sort of New World Order kind of stooge, and a man, I think, completely and utterly without honour. A guy who really, I think, would learn a lot by watching a film like The Legend of Bagger Vance. So, and just learning a few lessons in ethics and living an honourable life. Because I don't know about you, but I don't think any of these politicians, or hardly any, are capable of it. Certainly not the senior ones, certainly not people like Truss and Hunt, Kwarteng, and no doubt pretty much all of them in high office. I just think, why do we have to put up with these people? And I mentioned Labour a few minutes ago. They wouldn't be any better either. And Keir Starmer, the leader of the opposition, the leader of the Labour Party here in the UK, he is another Whiskey Echo Foxtrot stooge, and I think as bad as the Tories are, a Labour government would be even worse if such a thing was possible. So I don't know, I just think all of these politicians should go, all of these senior ones, and we should just get people with a bit of honour in, and wouldn't that be nice? But yeah, not very impressed with this choice of new Chancellor, not very impressed with the Truss government, and yeah, I don't think Hunt will be in for very long, I don't think Truss will be in for very long, but who is there to replace them? Just yet more stooges of a certain international organisation, I'd wager, unless the kind of Tory membership finally come to their senses and actually decides to elect someone as their leader who has a bit of integrity and a bit of honour about them and doesn't just take orders from these international organisations. But yeah, I can't see that happening anytime soon. So just a few thoughts. I came at it in a roundabout way at the start there, but just a few thoughts about this new appointment, these latest political shenanigans here in the UK. And yeah, not very impressed really, but I might sort of forget about it and just watch that film again myself over the weekend, just as a bit of light entertainment. And on that note, I'll leave it. Be back tomorrow. Tim from Fair Play Now. Thanks for watching.